Man, there's still more of these. We are back with the Fate 8 of the Furious. Yeah, that's right. Saw what they did there, didn't you? This one, I'm not gonna lie. Come out and just say it. Surprisingly, not bad. Better than I remember it being. The first few times I watched this, I remember, I always liked it, but this was like, I could feel the line drawn in the sand. Like, I was like, this is probably going to be the last one I like. Because, it's bottom tier, and I can feel the trajectory just waning and waning and waning. This time around, I won't say if I like it more than 7, or if it even bridges the gap, but I liked it a hell of a lot more. And it actually taps more into, in my opinion, the action set pieces of 5 and 6, where you can suspend your belief a little more. Like, it's ridiculous shit going on, but it's fun, and it's not as like in your face. Good God, that was absolutely ridiculous, and also way too over the top. This is like more in the line of fun over the top, like 5 and 6, whereas 7 had a lot more of like, that's over the top and just, I can't even get into it over the top. It's hard to like quantify these things, but like I said, I think in 7, it was more of action scenes where like the craziness, like the brunt force, the effects actually happened to the characters and they walked out alive, like crashing in certain ways. Whereas like 6, for example, it's like, okay, we didn't see them actually get hurt, but obviously you would get hurt. So it's like you would get hurt or you would die in real life in that situation, but they avoid that situational. Whereas in 7, it actually happens. They don't avoid it, and it's like, oh damn, brunt force to the body. How'd they walk out of that? So it's easier to suspend your disbelief. Now there's stuff in this movie. Don't get me wrong. Like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, like re-guides a rocket. Like, it's fucking crazy. There's dumb shit in this movie, but there's more fun over the topness I found this time around. Like, I really enjoyed the set piece where like they took over all the cars and they were taking all the cars out of that parking garage. Again, like this, it's not believable that they would take over all the cars. And again, government and all this shit, who the fuck knows? But you can suspend your disbelief with that. Falling out of a parking garage onto the ground. Crazy shit, right? Fun, crazy, over the top, suspend your disbelief. In part 7, we had Vin Diesel ramping off of a parking garage inside the car and falling to his not death. Like, that's the difference. There's a little bit more of that in this one that dialed it back into more fun rather than like, what in the hell are y'all even talking about? Just enough to where it didn't make me roll my eyes the entire fucking movie. This one was better at that, in my opinion. And then there's another scene I really, really quite enjoyed in this one. But of course, Mr. Blank on the spot. It's not really syncing up. Oh my God. I'll circle around back to it if I can remember it. But yeah, Charlize Theron, I thought she was great in this movie. I had a lot of fun with her. It added an interesting tidbit. Now, Dom on the bad side. Like, what did Dom do to go the dark side? I remember that gave it that little bit of edge, like going into the movie, it's like we really wanted to see why Dom was doing what he was doing, or at least I did. I mean, I knew it would be some bullshit like that was in the movie, but I was still curious to see this. It adds an extra little element to the movie to spice it up this far in the franchise, especially after Paul Walker's unfortunate passing. Like, we needed a little something new, a little something different, give it that little zest. I was very happy watching this movie just to have something new and different to play with. Like, these guys can take on anybody. I think that was even the tag in the trailer originally. I haven't seen the trailer since it came out, obviously. I don't remember until they met their match. And they say in the movie, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Dom Toretto. So watching him go up against all his brothers, it was fun. Again, different element, made it interesting. We welcome Tormund in this movie too, if you're a big Game of Thrones fan. He was cool. Cool to see him, especially riding that wave at the time that was Game of Thrones. Love that shit. All the new characters, I think, were pretty damn solid overall. I didn't have a problem with any of them. Whereas before, this movie really pissed me off because Jason Statham, Jason Statham, dude, god damn it, Jason Statham. They made him maybe one of the good guys now, which is a big gripe for me, but as I gripe about that kind of thing in this franchise, always turning the bad guy to the good guy, making that type of shit happen. It's roll your eyes 30. I feel like I've seen this franchise numerous times, enough to the point where now it's kind of flip-flopped, where like when I'd watch 7, I would get pissed off because the whole time I'm watching, or now, actually, scratch that. Now I get pissed off. I used to enjoy 7 because I was like, damn, dude, Jason Statham, great villain, or pretty damn solid villain for this franchise. And I'd watch 8 and I'd be like, okay, and now, roll your eyes, now he's one of the good guys. Now it's the other way. When I watch 7, I'm kind of just like, Jason Statham, like, I don't enjoy this villain as much anymore because I already know what he's going to become. And then if you've seen Hobbs and Shaw, which I'm going to review too, I enjoyed his banter back and forth with The Rock. I enjoyed him kind of being with the team in this one more this time around, because now I've kind of gravitated away from great villain. I'm just accepting him for being a part of the team. Whereas now when I'm looking at great villain, I'm like, not that great a villain. I know exactly what he's going to be. So that's kind of tonally flip-flop for me in a weird way. And this watch just really, for the first time, not being like, oh, he's one of the team, but like just being like accepting it. Like, I can't go back. There's nothing I can do when I watch this. I'm going to try to have as much fun as I can with it. There's been enough installments now that going forward to where it almost feels normal now. So I was able to watch him, like with that scene with the baby where he's doing the shootout and all that shit, where I was like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go. And never had that feeling before watching this movie, so oddly worked better for me. The Rock, props here, because The Rock, one of my critiques was laying down damn near the entire Fast and the Furious 7. And that got old. It really did. Like, I love The Rock in this franchise. I wanted to see him in the action. It was really cool. There's even, like, I thought the comedy part in the beginning with the soccer team, you know, the other actor wasn't that great, but, like, watching him just as a dad myself, like, just like, you know, I'm that guy that's, like, gonna get into the thick of it. I'm gonna be competitive. I'm going to be that guy like The Rock who like lifts weights. Obviously, I'm not that big. Like, you know, I try to, as dumb and dorky as like I might look with all this stuff, I try to at least incorporate some type of alpha male type of activities into my days, as dumb as that might sound, because it might not look that way, but I really do. And when I watch him do that, you know, just like go to full on feminine, like for his daughter, you know, just like, look, I love kicking ass. I love doing this shit. And obviously, I'm not comparing myself to The Rock, people. Don't get it twisted. But that same vibe of just, like, having someone come at me. Like, I've had that where it's just like, look, I know you think I can do this right now, but right now, it's time for dance class. Like, that's what it is for me. Like, don't bother me. My daughter's in dance class right now. Like, for The Rock, it's like, this is the soccer team, the Red Dragons. Like, I felt that, like, tonally on my end. Like, don't fuck with me right now. It's funny, you know, it's relatable in a way to me for whatever reason, and I do enjoy that. The Rock a lot better in here, which that reminded me, or shouldn't say better, but better utilized, I guess you could say. But one thing, the other scene I really liked, that another great scene, over the top, but in good ways, was the jail breakout scene. That is probably my favorite, like, hands-on fighting action sequence type of fight scene. Love that shit. The Rock breaking out of there and just being like, no, it's a malfunction. And that song goes off, and they just fuck everybody up. It's not overly long, but with the time they do have, they utilize it very well, and it's a very, like, good action scene. Even one of the better, I think, shot hand-to-hand combat action scenes in the franchise, because they don't go full-on shaky cam Bourne style. But there's a little bit of, like, quick cuttage going on, you know what I mean? This one's got... It's a little better balanced, I think, too. And I love, like, the one-liners, like, with that music going off, and that one guy's just like, I've been waiting for this, and he goes to take the knife, and The Rock flips it around and stabs him. He's like, keep waiting, bitch. Like, that shit, I'm like, woo! That shit gets me hyped every time. And then you almost got, like, parkour shit with Jason Statham leaping over people. I love that scene where The Rock does that slide, and he goes under the railing to get to the next level, and he slams into the fucking fence and then lands perfectly. It just looks clean, dude. That scene is one of my favorite scenes of the franchise. And it's kind of cool seeing the flip-flop of now The Rock is in the orange jumpsuit. I mean, at this point, let's just embrace it, right? Everybody just going from good to bad to good. This franchise is all over the place. And then you got, of course, Clint Eastwood's son in this movie. He's fine, not too bad. Kurt Russell returning again. I didn't even bring him up in part 7 because it's weird because Kurt Russell's one of my favorite actors of all time. That's my golden era, 80s, 90s action movies. Also a huge John Carpenter guy. So The Thing, movies like that. Big Trouble in Little China is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm talking like top 20. He's one of my heroes for sure. But like in this franchise, I mean, it's not like I'm saying he can't do anything at an older age anymore. Underrated movie, Bone Tomahawk. Amazing in that. And that's what, like 6, 7 years old. Like this movie's kind of like 6, 7 years old probably now. Maybe not that old, but it's old. He's still very quality, like in his age. But in this movie, like, he's just kind of give or take. Like he could easily be replaced. He's just that guy that's like, all right, Hobbs, here's your, if you want, here's the paperwork. Well, what do you think? Like, there's just nothing really to his character. I wish he had a little bit more to play with, be a little bit more, funny, or like maybe like different one-liners, but he's just kind of that guy. Like he's like, I'm gonna order this and I'm gonna order this, and of course he orders Hobbs and Shaw together, which, made another movie out of it by making, of course, Shaw one of the good guys, which I'm still, I don't like it, but again, that's what it is. But the chemistry is good with them two, and I'll talk more about that when I get to Hobbs and Shaw, but, it makes the movie kind of somewhat of a bright spot. And everybody in the movie, nothing wrong with them. They're all doing the same shit. I think it could have been a little more dry. Like, I think the next one is. We'll see if that's the same on this next viewing. But I think, honestly, like I said, with the Dom Toretto going rogue as Vin Diesel, not Vin Diesel, what the fuck? Same guy, Brandon. Character and actor name. Like The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like he says in the movie, going rogue, because that adds, it gives them a spark. It gives them something new to act off of. It's not the same going through the motions like, okay, how we gonna get them? It's something within their own unit. There's turmoil. I think it gives it just enough zest, just enough spice to, make it pretty good. And the whole reasoning behind what, Dom has to do, quality enough. I mean, you'd be stuck in that situation too. What could you do? It'd be fucked. And I like the way, they go about certain things with that. Like Charlize Theron makes some crazy tough decisions, and she's a solid character going forward too. I did at least really, really like her in 9, so we'll see if that spreads around a little more, because from what I remember in 9, dude, she was like the only character I fucking liked. Everybody else was like, God damn. So we'll see. I'll be back with Fast and Furious 9. I'll also be back with Hobbs and Shaw, and then it'll be only left to the Mac Daddy. And I hope it's a Mac Daddy, but Fast X. Number 10, people. Good God. I am kind of curious to see what Momoa does, though. I love some Momoa. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll either be back with 9 or Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw came out before 9. So it's kind of like maybe I should do that next, but also I'm thinking about doing all the Fast movies and then Hobbs and Shaw, and then that. I don't know. We'll see how I do it. But I will be back with one of those movies. This has been Fate of the Furious. Better than I remembered. Can 9 do the same? I don't know. Damn, dude. I'm a diehard fan of this franchise all of a sudden. Nah. Not gonna say that. Good shit, though, guys. Love y'all. Let me know. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think of Fate of the Furious. Is it damn good? Is it? Or am I crazy? I don't know. I might be. Both answers might be true. Answers? Peace. Maybe.